we are getting very close to the last load of junk going out to the burn pile. There's the rest of the hardwood floor that's going out, and at this point I don't think anybody's gonna want it. But other than that, we are kind of like there. Have to be a little bit careful with this, because if any of those boards with nails in them fall out while I'm driving forward, they go straight under the tires and cause me some problems. There goes Flint! He's a fast boy! The rabbits love this burn pile right here. And so Flint loves it when I get close to it because it scares the rabbits and they go out and he gets to chase them. That's it. Time to park the tractor. Right, Mr. Flint? All right, guys, we have the old floor cut out. Well, the chunk of the old floor cut out. It's going to more or less mimic the entire section that's going to turn into tile here. Then we have a new subfloor screwed down. This is 1/4" OSB. We just needed to get rid of the gaps and try to even out the high spots and low spots, which there really weren't that many of them. But this is now screwed down, and it's screwed down pretty seriously. That way we avoid any movement later on, but more than anything, any squeaks, any floor noises that we don't want. Now this thing is pretty well set. And then we built the framework for our toe kicks, we built the toe kick boxes, essentially. That's what I've been calling them. And I've got them set down in place and more or less measured to the right spot so I could get Katie's confirmation that she liked where they all were. Now the ones on the walls just kind of go where they go. This one, the island, was kind of the thing that could potentially change. So I measured off of here and I measured off of here and kind of pushed this back to the same space and then checked spacing from that wall. And she likes where it is. So this is where it's going to go. But before I can just screw these down, we have to level them out. And that might take a little bit here depending on just how bad this is. But the way we're going to do that is taking the fancy schmancy laser meister here. There we go. And we're just going to set it kind of way over here, way out of the way on a different floor. So hopefully I'm not going to bump this thing much. And we're going to jump it up to the next one. So that's too high. We're not going to try to lift these things all the way up that high. But I can use this to figure out where the high spot is. Move the cabinet out of the way. That was just so Katie could see what it looked like. So now I have this level green line passing all the way around here. The height of it is kind of arbitrary. So we've got you down here a little bit lower. We're going to just run around these different points and check and see. The higher the number here means the further away from that line this is. So we're looking for our high spot, which means our low number. It's 2 1/8 and 2, 1 15, 1 7/8, 1 3/4, 1 7/8. So looking at this, is absolutely our low spot. So the way we'll end up fixing this is taking shims and checking that line. And I'm going to end up bumping this and having to do this twice. But just to demonstrate, if I put that shim under there, now where'd we go? Now we're at 2 even. And we're at, 2 over there. So I have to do this to the entire room. And the best way to do that is to find the highest spot first. So I need to run around to all these corners and figure out where that laser is hitting the lowest. 1.5, 1 1/4. Yeah, 1 1/4 is low so far. 1 3/8, 1.5, 1 3/8, 1 5/8. Anyway, you get the picture. I have to go around and kind of decide where the highest point is. Then I have to take all of the different planes in here and lift them up to match that high point. And once I have them all shimmed correctly to match that high point, I can screw all of these down to the floor and they will be level and locked in and perfect forever. This is going to be kind of an exciting step. I have all of my upper cabinets finished, except for the doors, and they're in here except for the biggest one, and I'll get to that in a second. But like right here, I've got my corner cabinet that you didn't really see, but you will now. And we're going to hang them up. They're probably safer up on the wall than they are on the ground somewhere in here or out in the shop, so we might as well hang them up. I can't do the bases just yet because it's going to be easier to put the heated floor and the tile floor in without having to work around cabinets. I don't know if you can see over here the cabinets in there to see what it looks like. We already do have the framework in here, so when we get to putting the base cabinets in, it's going to be really easy. But for now, we're just going to try to hang up the uppers. And my father-in-law is going to be here a little bit later this afternoon. He said he'd give me a hand, so I'm going to get this ready for him to help me with that. The way we're going to do this is take my fancy laser here again and cast a line on the wall. This is going to show me exactly where I need to have these cabinets hung. And I've already done this, but I'll just show you. I built them 40 inches tall and expecting to drop them from the ceiling an inch. So that means 41 inches. So I'm going to throw a mark on the wall here, which is already here at 41 inches. So I just need to bring this laser line up to match that mark. And with this tripod, that's pretty easy. There's a gang adjust right here where I can go up and down a lot. And I happen to know I need to be right at the top of where I am right now. And then when it's kind of calmed down, I will just take and crawl this thing up, tighten it down, see if we're close to that line. Oh, we are dead money on that line. So if I come back over here and stop moving around, we are on my 41-inch mark. So like this under cabinet light got a little bit high. We'll notch this drywall out so it gets down and can come out behind that cabinet. So now, how do we get this up on there? Having 2 people, one to hold it and one to screw it in, certainly helps. But to make it even easier, I'm going to take 2x4s that I have straightened at the joiner and attach them to the wall right at that line. So if I get this up there perfectly, then we can take the cabinet and set it on top of this, and then it pretty much holds itself while we screw it in. I already went through here with a stud finder and found where those studs go, so I can easily screw this right in where it needs to be, and yeah, then when I have a second set of hands, we'll just start throwing cabinets up. I should have set that laser further back on the hardwood floor so that I don't, every time I move, it doesn't wiggle. But I'll stop moving around here in a second. It'll be okay. I have already gone through with a stud finder and marked out, I knew there was one on this outlet, but marked out where the studs were too, so it should be extra easy to just get this thing up and running. So, where's my mark? I'm going to put it right close to here. And I want this shorter than the overall width. I don't need it to mess anything up. So then the cabinet's going to come from about that point to about here. So this thing is definitely shorter than the cabinet. Everything behind this is going to get covered up. So it's got to go up I like it there. I like it there. Okay. There. I don't know if you can see that on the camera or not. All right, so if I move slow, you might be able to see this. Stop wiggling. That's my fault. Laser is perfect. This is the only one that's just a little bit wonky, but I know that to be level, and I know it doesn't matter that much. This one, if I get out of the way, that laser is just perfect across it. And then same thing here. That laser is actually touching the front and back corner of that the whole way across. So we're in good shape. Now I just need a set of hands to help me hang this stuff. It is almost starting to look like a kitchen in here. It's really kind of fun to have those cabinets hung up and see what this is going to look like. And they seem so ridiculously tall to me compared to the old kitchen. Go back and look at the before stuff. The soffits came down to about here. So the cabinet was only that tall. So to have it 30% taller makes it seem like just tons of storage here. So we hung all of these. Those are looking good. I've got my biggest upper still goes over here. It's 44 inches wide. I'm not going to hang that one until I get the lowers in because it's going to go corner cabinet, drawers, sink cabinet, dishwasher, little cabinet with drawers, and then refrigerator. And so because of everything on the bottom really dictates where it has to go, each thing next to the other thing. So the outside edge of the last cabinet is going to dictate where the upper cabinet is going to be. So I'm going to take my laser back and I'm going to cast a vertical line here. And so once the bottom is set, I'll put the upper in it and bump this over to the line so it's perfectly flush with that lower. And then the refrigerator will come up against that. This is a little bit of a disjointed video because I kind of bounced around from thing to thing and I got a lot of stuff going on. I know that I finished cabinets and hung them before I showed you how I finished cabinets. So when we get to doing the lowers, there's more cabinet stuff coming up. But for now, this just is what it is. One of the next things I'm going to be working on, in fact, the wood is sitting in the shop right now, is making end panels for, so right now, like this face is just exposed plywood with pocket holes in it. The microwave doesn't quite come all the way down to the bottom of this. That's kind of intentional. It's a little bit high of the cabinet. So I have to put just a strip of a panel here and here to hide that. On the either side of the window is going to get a panel, and then on the refrigerator side, and then same thing with the lower, we'll put one there, even though it's going to be hidden behind the refrigerator forever. That exposed edge just should have a panel on it. But dishwasher side doesn't matter. Stove side doesn't matter, but outside edge of the lower does matter, so we'll do one there too. And then, of course, on either side of the island and the back of the island. Let's talk about the island for a second. When I was leveling out the floors and stuff, like I said, this right here was the highest point, so everything else in the room had to get pulled up to match this for the toe kick boxes. The worst spot was this front corner. This was 15/16 lower than the highest point. So I actually have a 3/4 inch piece of plywood underneath a shim to get it to come up and match. And so your slope from this outside wall to here is almost an inch, and that doesn't matter. You would think you'd almost be able to feel that walking around on it, and that's just not the case. My father-in-law said when they build new houses, it's kind of expected there might be as much as 1/2 inch of slope in brand new construction. So in this house that's almost 80 years old, almost an inch just isn't surprising. I have been keeping our dog gate door up on top of this, mostly because it sticks out a little bit better and I'm less likely to trip on it when I'm running around in here. But the dogs, now that the gate is down, think that this is their new place to lay down and sleep. So somehow our new kitchen island is a dog platform bed. All right, I'm getting winded and I'm getting tired of thinking of things to say. I did screw all the floors down, through the plywood just like I showed, and then I came back with longer screws and knew where the floor joists were. I marked them along the outside walls. And so I came back with longer screws and went all the way through the plywood into the floor joists. So it's screwed down into the subfloor, then it's screwed down into the floor joists. And then we came back with a staple gun and just went nuts and stapled it all over the place. I even had my youngest help me with that. He kind of had a good time. He did so much of it, he got a blister on his finger. So I think that's about it for now. I am waiting for the in-floor heating materials to show up, because that'll be the next thing that I do in here. I'll put the in-floor heating down, then we will tile on top of that so we can tile right up to the toe kicks. And I decided it would be easier to do the tile without the lower cabinets in place first, so that I can kind of be stepping around here and working from all angles rather than bumping into that sort of thing and trying to get it underneath the cabinets all the way to those toe kicks. So as soon as that heating stuff comes in, I can lay that down, then I can lay tile, then I can put the lowers in. We're getting closer. We're definitely getting closer. Thanks for keeping up with me, guys. I really appreciate it. If there are any things in this video that need links, they're going to be down in the description. So check it out there, and we will see you next time.